Socrates was an ancient Greek philosopher from Athens, widely regarded as the founder of Western philosophy. Socrates himself wrote nothing. Knowledge of his ideas comes mainly from the writings of his students, especially Plato and Xenophon. These works are presented as dialogues in which he engages others through question and answer discussions, a style that formed the basis of the Socratic dialogue. Plato's dialogues provide the most complete picture of Socrates' philosophical method, particularly in the fields of ethics and epistemology. From these works emerge the concepts of the Socratic method and Socratic irony. Socratic method, also known as the method of refutation, elenchus. The elenchus typically begins with Socrates engaging a self-proclaimed expert in dialogue, often before an audience of young men. Through a series of probing questions, he reveals contradictions in the interlocutor's claims, thereby demonstrating that the supposed expert lacks true knowledge of the subject. The discussion usually begins with Socrates requesting a definition of a moral concept, such as justice, virtue, or courage, and continues until the interlocutor's responses undermine their initial definition. This process exposes ignorance and challenges conventional opinions while encouraging critical self-examination. Importantly, Socrates applies the same critical method to his own views, emphasizing that he possesses no definitive doctrine and acknowledging his own ignorance. His philosophical inquiry is thus collaborative and open-ended, aiming not to transmit knowledge but to search for truth through reasoned dialogue. Closely related to the elenchus is Socrates' priority of definition, his practice of beginning inquiries by seeking precise definitions of ethical concepts. By collecting clear examples and analyzing their shared characteristics, Socrates attempts to clarify the essence of notions like virtue or justice. Socrates' religious nonconformity represented a profound challenge to the dominant beliefs of his era and significantly influenced the trajectory of religious thought for centuries thereafter. In classical Greece, religion lacked a centralized structure or canonical scriptures. Instead, it consisted of diverse cultic practices, festivals honoring specific deities, and personal household rituals. Religious activity was integrated into civic and domestic life, largely expressed through sacrificial offerings to various gods. Whether Socrates should be regarded as a devout believer or an irreverent skeptic has remained contentious since antiquity. His trial for impiety underscores this tension, and the debate over his true religious stance continues to this day. Socrates draws a parallel between the soul and the divine, asserting that self-knowledge arises from contemplating the divine aspect of the soul. Socrates redefined the divine as inherently rational and just, a radical departure from the anthropomorphic and transactional character of traditional Greek religion. Socrates explicitly professes belief in the gods, asserting that he acknowledges them even more sincerely than his accusers do. Socratic is complex and resistant to definitive categorization, as Socrates did not articulate a systematic political doctrine. Instead, his political thought emerges through dialogues and actions, reflecting his moral and intellectual commitments. Socrates advocated a form of democratic republicanism, emphasizing civic engagement and collective responsibility. He portrays citizenship as a voluntary moral contract. Individuals may leave the city if they reject its laws, but by remaining, they tacitly consent to its authority. Overall, Socratic political philosophy situates moral inquiry at the center of public life, redefining politics as the pursuit of justice and virtue rather than power or persuasion. A defining feature of Socratic philosophy is his claim of ignorance, epitomized in the dictum, "I know that I know nothing." His statements, however, reveal a paradox. While he frequently denies possessing knowledge, he also asserts knowing certain moral truths, such as the immorality of injustice. Socrates viewed knowledge as univocal, though he may have believed that certain ethical truths were knowable, despite his professed ignorance of virtue's nature. Socratic irony, recognized by Plato and Aristotle as a central feature of Socratic dialogue, manifests as subtle humor and feigned humility. Ancient and modern scholars have proposed varying interpretations. Some view irony as a rhetorical strategy to engage interlocutors, while others see it as a philosophical veil, concealing deeper meanings accessible only to discerning readers. Socrates' moral philosophy is rooted in eudaimonism, the pursuit of human flourishing, eudaimonia, as the ultimate aim of life. He associates virtue and knowledge with eudaimonia, though scholars debate whether he considered them identical or whether virtue merely serves as the means to it. Central to his ethical theory is moral intellectualism, the conviction that virtue depends entirely on knowledge and that no one errs willingly. Socrates was a divisive presence in Athens. In 399 BC, he was charged with impiety and corrupting the youth. Following a brief trial, he was found guilty and executed by drinking poison, as described by Plato after refusing offers to escape. Socrates' influence extended throughout later philosophy, shaping thought in antiquity, the Middle Ages, and the modern era. His ideas inspired medieval and Islamic scholars and had a profound effect on Renaissance humanism.